Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Love to Live Healthy show. I'm Josephine Fitzpatrick, author of Cheat Day Rules, available on Amazon. I'm a weight loss nutrition specialist for over 15 years, and I work with thousands of clients all over the world. I own Innovation Healthy Market at 8025 Jericho Turnpike, Woodbury, New York, where for the last 12 years we sell hundreds of prepared meals and snacks. We are open to the public 7 days a week. You do not have to be a client to shop in our store. We have customers from all over Long Island visit our store every day, and we ship tri-state. We also offer free Long Island delivery every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we hand deliver to New York City every Tuesday. We are also on Uber Eats 7 days a week. So if you're looking to lose weight or just eat healthy, come and visit our store. Everything is made fresh daily, and we carry everything from high protein, low carb, gluten-free, sugar-free, plant-based, vegan, keto, and our famous detox. Someone is always available to help you at the store. They will hold your hand to help you get what you want. You do not need to hesitate to ask when you walk in. For more information on our store, deliveries, shopping, and weight loss, visit our website, innovationhealthymarket.com, or check out our Instagram at Innovation Weight Loss. Today I'm here with Jake Fitzpatrick. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Today's episode is the importance of muscle. How important is it to have muscle in your body, and why?
Well, this is kind of a deep issue because when we talk about it, we have to evaluate both aspects of it being a mental and physical thing.
True.
So when you break it into the two parts, it's really good for obviously, like strength and physical capability, longevity as well as aging. When you're in your younger years of youth, you have definitely the more opportunity to build more muscle because of, like just your body's working at its like peak function at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going into the ages of like 15 to 25 even, like that's probably when you're at your height. But the way to do it is, it's important to keep it going because you obviously want to not only age well and feel confident going into your later years, but you also want to be the healthiest you can be.
Right.
Yeah.
100% I agree. I think a big topic right now when we're talking about muscle is, like you said, as you age, it helps with so many things, even balance,
Yeah.
Everything your body does is muscle. We have to remember that muscle is what helps you move. You can't move without it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can live without it because your bones will keep you together,
Mm-hmm.
but your muscle actually helps you move. It helps you bend. It helps you lift,
Mm-hmm.
And of course your heart is a muscle.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
your heart's job, it wants to get stronger. Even though the rest of your body may be breaking down as you get older,
Mm-hmm.
your heart actually wants to get stronger. So it's looking for muscle on your body to beat even
Mm-hmm.
stronger than, when you were younger. So that's another thing to take into consideration, how important it is throughout your body. Of course, it's great for looks. We all
Mm-hmm.
know that. And we did that episode, muscle versus skinny fat,
Yep,
how
yep.
much better it looks, the confidence, everything. But as far as health, it's so important. And another thing I want to bring up, and I think most people have seen this all over the internet,
Mm-hmm.
is now with all the weight loss shots with Ozempic and
Wegovy, Mounjaro.
yeah, all the semaglutide, it's causing muscle wasting.
Mm.
So every doctor, because I talk to so many doctors throughout the day, every doctor I work with, they keep saying, these people are coming in saying, like, what's going on with my body? It's basically your muscles wasting away because you're not giving it the nutrition it needs. You're not giving it the protein. You're not giving it nutrients that it needs because you're not eating. And this is a big deal. Like muscle wasting, once it's gone, you're not getting that back. You can work out till you're crazy, but you won't get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with these shots and everything is it takes your energy away. So you don't even want to exercise. Never mind. You don't want to eat. You don't want to exercise.
Yeah.
And yes, you're walking around thin and you look great in clothes, but your
Mm-hmm.
skin is literally hanging off your bones.
Yeah. It's funny that you brought that up because I was reading an article the other day that was super interesting, and it was about the importance of the difference between like heavyweight light reps versus they call it light load or more reps.
Right.
It's funny because it was actually a former astronaut that was writing the article.
Okay.
And it's not off topic because when you just said it, like he was talking about how there's a condition called space legs that they get. So when they go up and there's zero gravity, your body isn't using your legs anymore. So when you don't have that constant load on your legs after they come back from space and they're back on Earth, you actually you lose muscle while you're there because you're not using them. So think about it like because while you're standing on your legs all day long, your legs are
Sure.
constantly holding up the muscle that you have in your whole body. So when you actually finally come back, they don't know how to use the muscle anymore. So the muscle actually deteriorates over
Wow.
time. And it's like comparable to what you were just talking about, because when you choose not to focus on things like working out or staying fit, it'll do the same thing, but just at a slower rate.
Right.
So it's funny how it's actually like a mandated thing now in the programs like for NASA and stuff, that you have to do 2 60-minute workouts every single day while you're on the space station.
Wow.
Because
That's good,
it's
though.
like literally, it's, it's like thinking about like, okay, like I want to use my legs, so like I should probably work them out,
Right.
and it's like, of course, everybody does that every day by walking everywhere. But you got to think about the same thing for your back, for your arms, for your shoulders,
And you
and
have to
everything.
remember, too, like, it's not everyone walks all the time.
Yeah,
Most people
no,
are
of
in
course.
a car.
Of course, yeah.
Or most people are just going from here
Yeah.
to there, or they're sitting, or they're,
Yeah. Your legs should not just be used for transportation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And then when you were talking about before, like your muscle, your heart is a muscle. It's one of the most important muscles in your body. But also, too, the other thing is like hormonal as well as the immunity benefits that come with working out as well. Because obviously, like lifting and building muscle supports testosterone levels like we talked about, especially
Right.
in men. But also, too, it helps regulate inflammation, and it helps also strengthen the immune system overall. So
Wow.
while you're, keeping yourself physically fit, it's also helping the insides as well, because it keeps your immune system sharp. It keeps the dust off of everything inside.
Wow. Yeah. It's, that's the thing. Like, and when we talk about it, even when I thought about this before, when you were talking about the space, the NASA, like when people are sick
NASA.
and they're in bed, NASA.
NASA.
Sorry, it's
No.
embedded. It's when people are in bed sick,
Yeah.
and for a long period of time with cancer or whatever, they lose their muscle.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal.
Even
if
after
they can't
5
even
days of
walk.
having like the flu, I get up and I
Oh
feel
my
like I don't
gosh,
have leg
yeah.
muscles anymore. It's
you
like,
got to like retrain yourself.
Yeah.
And we're talking about people with
Yeah.
long-term illnesses.
well, yeah, even short term, but like when if you're not using those muscles for like days at a time, you get like you start having cramps. It starts your body's basically trying to tell you like, hey, use me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Right. All of a sudden your body aches and you're like, is this the flu or is this because I haven't been moving?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then people always blame it on I'm sore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still not feeling good.
Yeah.
No, you got to
Yeah.
move. You
Yeah,
got to move.
exactly.
But it is very true. One thing that I found extremely interesting, most people don't realize that when you have any type of illness or disease like cancer, the more muscle you have on your body, the more of a success rate you will have to beat it.
The more muscle you have on your body, the higher the success rate of beating an illness.
Yeah.
Does it is there a specific category of illnesses, or is it
No,
all
it says
illness?
basically everything I've read and
Like what's the top
spoke
ones
to
that are like at the
cancer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Even heart disease.
Wow.
It's just the stronger that your body is, the more that it's going to be able to fight. And remember,
yeah.
like when you have cancer, like we were saying before, it really breaks your body down.
Yeah.
So the more muscle you have, at that time, and I'm not saying you're going to go work out, you already have to have that muscle on your body. So like if you get sick, that's why they always say keep yourself healthy, because
So
when
it's
you get sick,
proactive to work out.
exactly, because when you get sick, you're not going to be able to work out, but you're going to have to use that muscle that's in your body. And I think it's because protein metabolism. So basically your body's feeding off of the muscle, and it's really helping you get through the illness. Which on the same sense, they say that the less muscle you have in your body, you can actually have a higher incidence of getting a cancer or getting a disease like
Yeah.
heart disease or anything, because your body needs the muscle. Your body needs muscle. It basically feeds it nutrients,
Yeah.
And I think that's what so many people are misinformed, because we live in a world of like social media. So we're always like, oh, you look great. You're working out, whatever. Or you're just thin, And
No,
again,
absolutely.
I hate to go back to the Ozempic shots, but it is a big deal because people have gotten to the point where they're not only not working out, they're living like on one meal a day, and it's usually not a nutritious meal.
Yeah.
It's usually, I've actually, one of our employees, his sister's husband's on it. And he said it's a big issue right now because he'll go, I don't feel like dinner, let's just go get ice cream. And because they can do that and still lose weight. But she's not eating dinner now.
Yeah.
So she's going to get the ice cream. So, like, she's not feeding her body
Yeah.
the nutrition that it needs. And it's
Yeah.
a big deal,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then even like what you were talking about before, like the proactivity of gaining muscle, because down the line, like God forbid you get an illness or anything, but like it's just being precautionary. But it's interesting because regardless of illness, the most common things I feel like we hear like all the time is like if we have like a family friend or just like a close friend, like you hear like somebody in their family had a tragedy because just of a simple fall. It's like a simple fall is usually like the the thing that people never really put that much attention into, because they're always like, well, they're getting checkups at the doctor, getting scans and everything. But like, you walk out of the doctor, 2 steps could be the end of their life.
Yeah.
Like you said, training the balance, training the coordination, even doing something as simple as like, yoga, like, just to help keep that activity like, sustainable, because of course, like you always want to be there to support them. But for that, that period or length of their life, like you want to feel safe knowing that they're capable on their own.
Exactly.
And
by the way,
like,
right now, all the yogis are going, what do you mean simple?
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was going to ask you, because I was interested reading about this, but I couldn't figure out where I stood on it. But are you familiar with people talking about like, fat protects internal organs, and then like muscle as well, because the heart's a muscle? But where do you stand on that, of like, where's the line to where the fat and everything actually suffocates your organs? Because,
well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I believe that fat suffocates
because that could
your
be
organs more than
something
it
that
protects
people
it.
use to defend against our claims right now. But I wanted you to explain like how that's right, but there's a line.
Right. And there is also healthy fat and there's unhealthy fat.
True.
And that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's really what you want to look for.
Yeah.
You want to have healthy fat on your body, meaning you're eating foods from healthy foods, not from bad fats.
Yeah, like nuts and stuff.
Yeah, nuts, avocado,
mixes.
all healthy fats, not bacon.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that's a big difference, because that's what's going to play a big part in your body. And again, it is true, the muscles definitely protect everything, because we actually have a family member, and of course I'm not going to say a name, but she took a fall and she had absolutely no muscle in her body, and she's not old, she was like in her late 50s, and it was like dust. Like her muscles were basically like dust, whatever muscle she had. Really, I should say her bones, because she had no muscle protecting her. And that's just from lack of nutrition.
Yep.
Just terrible nutrition where, yes, on the outside, look great, thin, but on the inside, and she didn't know it until this happened. Obviously she knew she doesn't work out, and she knew she wasn't doing the right things as far as food. But when she had to have like 3 or 4 surgeries, because they couldn't even get a pin in her bones because there was no muscle to hold it.
Wow.
Yeah. Terrible.
Wow.
It's very hard, because I think today we look at from the outside in, but really longevity is from doing from the inside out.
Yeah.
You really want to keep your insides healthy. You want to feel good. Not, of course, you want to look good. Let's listen. That's another whole thing. We just had a customer in the store, which you'll know who I'm talking about. She's lost 20 pounds. I saw her the other day. She works out every day. She eats all our food. She's very, she takes care of her body, and she looked insane. Okay,
Yeah.
and she just looks insane. I mean, her muscle. She looks fit. And then we're talking to another client or customer in the store, and she was telling us how her skin's hanging off her bones. And instead of saying, like, I was talking about working out, she goes, I know, they said that there's a laser. And I'm like, no, that's not going to help you.
Yeah, that's not the answer.
Yeah, that's not the answer. You're
yeah.
not doing yourself any good by doing that.
Yep. No, absolutely. And it's funny, too, because, like, to not really change the gear here, but to just say, like, in my own personal experience, you know better than anybody, I've always been fanatical about working out. Like, whether it be for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, because I'm angry or because I actually want to be in shape, looking the biggest I could, over time it became more than a hobby or a habit. It was almost like the center point of my life and everything I did. And,
Always.
as time went on and my free time became more and more limited as a result of, college, graduating, then working full time and everything, it was limited as a result in the increased demand of work and my life, building my life. And I started to realize, okay, it's not the center of my life. I have priorities. And, I started to hit the gym less and less. And for me personally, it was difficult because I felt that, in order for me to achieve these goals, I need to be in there, twice a day, every day, and if I miss a day, I'll feel terrible. But that's only in my head. If I miss a day, I'll feel like, I was lazy in my head, but my body would silently be thanking me, and
especially because you're on your feet all day.
And especially like you were always the first person to be like, you work out every day, take a day off. And I would look at that as like, no, like, why would I take a day off? Like, I don't want to be, lazy. Like, I don't want to then like after a while, it started going from 6 days a week to 5 days a week to 4 days a week. And, I started to realize that I was able to maintain the physique that I had as well as the size. And I was confused because I wasn't understanding why. I was like, wait, I'm not working out every day though, but why am I still the same size as I was? And I started to see that I wasn't regressing at all, which is the key to it, because despite the lowered weekly volume of working out, I was working out half as frequently as I was previously. And seeing that I didn't change at all, it's when I started to truly realize that when it comes to muscle maintenance, there's a difference between muscle gain, muscle loss, and muscle maintenance. Because it's
like weight loss.
It's what you always say, less can be more. Because the demands that your body has to gain muscle are different from the demands that your body needs to maintain. So as long as you're doing that much to maintain muscle, you can still lose fat. You could still gain fat,
Right.
Because if I'm going, 5-6 days a week, I'll probably end up gaining muscle. But if I stay at where I'm at, I don't have to worry because I know I won't get any smaller.
Right. Very good.
You know what I mean?
Smart, yeah.
So
do you feel like your workouts are more intense because you're not exhausted from doing them every day?
Almost. I feel like, I feel like I'm definitely sorer because I'm finally, there's a difference too between, training the right amount as well as overtraining. And sometimes you don't actually allow your body to grow in the way that it needs to if you train every single day. Like the cool thing that I heard from like one of my favorite bodybuilders was like, you think about your hand with sandpaper, and if you scrape your hand with sandpaper, what's going to happen? You're going to start bleeding.
Right.
If you scrape your hand with sandpaper the next day, you're going to keep bleeding and you're just going to reopen the cut.
Oh.
So if you wait 2 to 3 days and then rub your hand with sandpaper again, the cut would have healed.
Oh.
So think about your muscles that way.
That's
so
a
if you work
great
out,
point.
you're breaking down the muscle, you're shredding the skin. If you work out that same body part the next day, you're breaking it down, you're shredding the skin again. You're not giving it time to grow and heal itself.
That's amazing.
So you think about it like that, and it's like, okay.
Because even when I run, like when I run every day,
yeah,
it's like, it's fine. But when I skip a day and then I run, I'm like, wow, I feel like I have twice as much energy.
Yeah.
But it's probably my muscles that are pushing
Meanwhile,
me.
you also always tell me, like, I want to go for a run today, but then you're upset that you didn't.
Yeah, because immediately.
Because of course we're both upset that we didn't get to go, run or work out, but knowing now that it was actually the right decision.
Yeah,
probably.
right. It didn't hurt. And I would always know that the next day. I'd be like, wait a second, like I'm so much stronger today.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because you always talk about like, I don't know how you run like 8 miles a day, and I never hear you once say like your legs are sore. But if you do your weights in the sauna or anything,
I was just complaining.
You are sore for like 3 days.
I know,
and it's because of like
I'm using muscles I don't use.
No, well but like it's also what we're talking about. Like you're not rejecting it, but like you're neglecting the parts of your body where like you should be.
1,000%.
Like whenever you hang out with Cooper, your arms are always sore too.
Always.
It's like
my back. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that's so true. I've been talking about this a lot lately, which is why I wanted to do this topic, because the importance of having muscle as we age is you just feel different. You feel better. It's really like you have a sense of feeling strong, and it's actually a good pain. Like, and I, especially being a runner, I never really have that pain because my body's so used to running. But now that I've been really incorporating the weights and really, making sure I have my protein every day, it's been so different, like how I feel. Yes, we were just walking in and I was like, I'm so sore, but it's a good sore. I feel like I'm doing really healthy things for my body, even though running is still a big part of my life. It's something that I did, I think, more for mental and I was just getting the benefits out of it. But now with the working out, it's such a game changer.
Yeah. And then like you said, like it's different because obviously the physical and mental part of it, but doing any physical activity, whether it be yoga, strength training yoga, hot yoga, or, running or lifting, bicycling, anything. It's a good way to keep yourself physically fit, keep yourself toned, maybe lose fat. But of course, the feel-good chemical, the endorphins that you get released from working out as well, that's where the mental part comes in, because you not only feel like you did something, achieved something, but it also makes you feel good about yourself.
Right.
And, like the gentle forms of working out, like we said, like walking, it can increase your positivity, your mood, anything. And like, of course, nobody ever wants to do it, but they always are happy that they did it after.
Exactly. I think that's most workouts, right?
That's,
I have a question for you.
Oh, God.
Because you're always asking me a question.
Okay.
So when I do weights, like when I do full body weights, it's exhausting. I never feel like that after running 8 miles, ever. Why?
Well, because the parts of your body that you're working out aren't used to the strenuous activity. So your legs are like, when you wake up every day, your legs also are waking up and they're thinking, oh, she's going to run us today 8 miles again.
Right.
But your arms are thinking, no, we got the day off again. You're not shocking. When you are doing the workouts that you're doing and you're actually feeling sore, it's shocking the muscle. So your muscle fibers are not used to the load that you're putting on them every day, because your legs are used to that load. Your legs are used to the movements that they've been doing by running 8 miles. That's why 8 miles is easy for you. If you went to 10 miles, you'd probably feel it again, because your legs are like, all right, we're hitting 7.5 miles, like we're gonna stop soon.
Yeah.
If you kept it going, then they would feel they would feel
strenuous.
it. Yeah, they would feel it after. Whereas your arms are almost asleep because they're not used to the load.
Right.
So when you put that load on them and you're doing like 10-pound weights even, the next few days they're going to be like, what was that? Like, why did she do that?
I guess too, it's probably different muscles too, because even when I do leg weights now, like yesterday, I read this whole thing on how to wear ankle weights and wrist weights and walk. So yesterday I did that, and I did like 8.5 miles walking with the leg. I was dying. I got back and I was like, I am so tired. I could feel the muscles in my legs, but I guess I'm working out different muscles too.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's actually, I read this the other day too. For anybody that's been in like a critical accident or anything and is doing like PT, like physical therapy, one of the first things that they actually do with people like that is they bring them to the beach and they have them walk in the sand.
Oh, yeah.
And
I used to train people in sand. Remember that?
Yeah. This is more so like a need. like they actually train people when they're walking again to walk in the sand because of the imbalance, as well as because it's just it's an uneven surface, and it's working out every muscle in your feet and your ankles, around your
Even
tibia,
your hips,
fibia,
everything.
everywhere. So it's training the muscles again. Even like when people have like knee surgeries and stuff, doctors usually tell them you need to walk on the treadmill, but walk backwards.
Right.
You need to retrain yourself how to walk in balance. So it's working out muscles that are almost secondary every day. Like, your muscles that you're using to walk, your calves, your quads, your glutes, hold your body straight up. Like when you're doing the running, it's every muscle in your leg. But when you're putting weights on your ankles, all of a sudden, you're getting the front of your shin involved.
True.
You're getting everything involved.
Yes, that's very true.
So,
and I think just the muscle working so hard like that is a big deal. I was going to say, too, when you said before, we always have to remember, and I think this is really important for people, and I know we've mentioned this before, that you have to still be on your program. You still have to eat for weight loss, because we do get into that mindset like, oh my gosh, I just did all that working out, I can eat more, and you will gain, and you'll gain weight, you'll gain fat. You really have to stick to that's when you get the best benefits. When you can incorporate cardio for your heart, but even if it's just walking, and you can incorporate weights for your muscles, and you can eat healthy with your one cheat a week, you are that is the perfect. And listen, you're not going to have them every week, but the more you have them, the better you will be. And I think that's what we have to remember. Listen, strive to be the best. And when you're not the best, just do the best you can.
Yep, absolutely. And if I can leave us with a final point, I think that one of the biggest challenges that prevent people from even starting is the uncomfortability that they're not used to feeling.
Yes.
Like we were talking about with even just working out muscles that you don't usually work out with. Of course it's uncomfortable. Of course you're going to be sore. But when things are simple, it's easier for us to get bored in life.
True.
Like when you go through the same day, same routine, everything, we find ourselves to be almost numb from that.
Right.
And we often take for granted all that we have accomplished and even feeling that through that accomplishment. And, the idea is that no matter how good something makes us feel, like a workout or eating the right meal, most of the time we drift back to where we started, and then you get upset with yourself again. So struggle is essential, basically, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like you need to embrace that struggle.
Important, yeah.
Yeah, and people want peace, people want confidence, people want clarity, but they're not willing to do the things that are necessary to get them there.
Yes.
And
to make you feel that way.
Exactly. And it's struggle isn't the enemy here. It's the training ground of where you're going to be like later on. Everybody always says, I want to be as thin as her. I want to be as big as him. Well,
Yeah.
you want it, but
You have to put the work in.
exactly. Yeah.
Or you have to take a shot.
Or
Okay, I got one trivia before we end.
Okay.
What's the strongest muscle in your body?
I feel like it's going to be something like your brain.
Nope.
No.
It's your jaw.
Your jaw?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I got a trivia for you. What's the biggest organ in the body?
I'm going to say your brain.
No, it's your skin.
Mine's my brain.
Oh.
No, is it your skin?
It's your skin.
Ah,
Yeah.
I thought brain because you just said that.
No, yeah.
That makes
But,
sense.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
you're constantly working out your brain, so that's why.
That's very true. It never stops.
Yep.
Okay, well, we hope we've given you some good information on the importance of, working out more than just how you look. Even though that's important from the inside out, always remember that's how you want to live.
Yep.
Just so you have that longevity.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening. And remember, please stop in at Innovation at 8025 Jericho Turnpike, Woodbury, New York, or visit our website, innovationhealthymarket.com. Or you can call the store 516-802-5055. We're open 7 days a week and are always there to help you with your shopping, orders, or weight loss needs. When you come in, ask for me, Jake. I'll be happy to show you around the store. Or if you're looking for a one-on-one plan, I can make your first free consultation appointment with Josephine.
Great.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.